As the world quiets down and the veil of night drapes over the edges of your thoughts, I invite you to wander with me into a realm where questions linger like whispers in the dark. Picture yourself in the stillness of a late hour, where the hum of the day has faded, and all that remains is the soft glow of a distant lamp or the pale shimmer of moonlight creeping through a window. In this sacred pause, the mundane slips away, and the mind begins to roam beyond the familiar into territories uncharted and unseen. What if reality itself is not the solid ground we tread upon, but a riddle we've yet to unravel? What if the very fabric of our existence is woven with threads of mystery, waiting for us to tug at them, to see what lies beneath? Let this thought settle into you like a gentle wave, lapping at the shore of your consciousness. We often move through life with the illusion of certainty, as if the world is a puzzle already solved, its pieces neatly fitted together. But in these quiet hours, when the noise of routine falls silent, we can feel the edges of something deeper, something unknown. Imagine for a moment that everything you've ever known, every sight, every sound, every memory, is but a single page in a book whose ending remains unwritten. What if the truth of our being is not a destination to reach, but a question to hold, a companion that walks with us through the labyrinth of time? Take a moment to reflect on this. Let your mind drift to the edges of what you believe to be real. Feel the weight of uncertainty not as a burden, but as a quiet invitation to wonder. In ancient times, philosophers and mystics gazed at the stars and pondered the same enigma. From the shadowy caves of Plato's allegories to the boundless musings of Lao Tzu, humanity has always danced with the unknown, seeking to name what cannot be named. They understood that reality might be a mirror, reflecting only what we dare to see, while hiding countless truths just beyond the glass. Consider the possibility that we are not merely observers of this grand riddle, but a part of it. Like a droplet of water falling into an endless ocean, do we dissolve into the mystery, or do we ripple through it, shaping its currents in ways we cannot fathom? There is a quiet thrill in not knowing, a strange comfort in letting go of the need for answers. Perhaps the beauty of existence lies not in solving the puzzle, but in marveling at its intricacy, in tracing its lines with curiosity rather than conquest. As the night deepens around you, imagine yourself standing at the threshold of this vast unknown. Beyond the door, there are no certainties, no maps to guide you, only the faint whisper of questions calling you forward. What is real and what is illusion? What are we, if not wanderers in a dream we've yet to fully comprehend? Let these thoughts cradle you, not with unease, but with a gentle sense of awe. For in this space, where the boundaries of the ordinary dissolve, you are free to explore without fear, to embrace the mystery as an old friend who has been waiting for you all along. Take another quiet moment to breathe into this. Feel the stillness wrap around you like a soft cloak. The riddle of reality is not something to be solved tonight, nor perhaps ever. It is a journey, a slow unraveling of wonder that stretches across lifetimes. And as you rest in this thought, let it guide you into a deeper calm, a place where questions become less like burdens and more like lanterns, lighting the way through the endless night. Imagine for a moment that you are gazing into a still, endless river under the pale glow of a crescent moon. Its surface seems unchanging, a perfect mirror of the night sky above. Yet beneath, the current moves ceaselessly, each drop of water slipping away to be replaced by another. This river, so constant in its appearance, is never truly the same from one second to the next. And as you watch it flow, a quiet, unsettling thought begins to form in the depths of your mind. Are you, too, like this river? Is the person you call myself a fixed, solid thing, or merely an illusion, a fleeting shape crafted by the ever-shifting currents of memory and perception? Let this question linger as we drift deeper into the enigma of personal identity. We often speak of ourselves with such certainty. I am this, I feel that. I remember yesterday as if it defines who I am today. But pause and consider. Every moment, your body renews itself, cells dying and others born in their place. Every thought, every experience, subtly reshapes the lens through which you see the world. If you look back at the person you were a decade ago, or even a day ago, do you truly recognize them as the same you? Or are they a stranger, a ghost of a self that no longer exists, replaced by the one listening to these words right now? Like the river, you appear to be a singular, continuous being, yet beneath the surface, everything is in flux, endlessly reborn with each breath. Take a moment to reflect on this. Feel the weight of your own presence, the rhythm of your breath, the quiet hum of thoughts in your mind. Are these the anchors of who you are, or are they just fleeting ripples on the surface of something deeper, something unknowable? This riddle of the self has haunted philosophers and thinkers across centuries. From the ancient teachings of the Buddha, who spoke of the self as an illusion, a mere collection of passing sensations, to modern neuroscientists who argue that identity is nothing more than a story the brain tells itself to make sense of chaos. In the stillness of a late night, it's easy to feel the fragility of this story. Recall a memory, any memory, perhaps a childhood moment, a fleeting joy, or a quiet pain. As you hold it in your mind, notice how it feels both vivid and distant, like a dream you're not sure you truly lived. Is that memory a piece of who you are? Or is it just a whisper, a fragment of a past self that no longer exists? And if memory itself is so unreliable, so prone to distortion, what then is the foundation of this I we cling to so fiercely? Perhaps we are not a single, unchanging entity, but a procession of selves, each one dissolving into the next like waves on a shore. The child you once were, the dreamer, the seeker, the one who stumbled and rose again. Each of them flows through you, yet none of them remain. And if this is so, what does it mean to be you at all? Are we bound by the illusion of continuity, desperately weaving a thread through our experiences to convince ourselves we are whole? Or is there freedom in letting go, in accepting that we are not a stone carved in permanence, but a river, ever moving, ever changing, never truly the same? Let this thought settle into the quiet corners of your mind. Imagine yourself as that river now, flowing through the landscape of your own existence. There is no need to grasp at a fixed shape, no need to fear the current's pull. Perhaps the beauty of being human lies not in knowing who we are, but in wondering, in allowing each moment to reshape us without resistance. And as you drift with this idea, ask yourself softly, are you the same person you were a moment ago? Or are you, even now, being reborn in the gentle tide of this very breath? Imagine for a moment that you're standing on the edge of a vast, silent shore where the waves of an unseen ocean lap gently against the boundaries of your understanding. There is something in the air tonight, something intangible yet heavy, with presence, a force that moves without form, slipping through your grasp like a shadow at dusk. This is the essence of time, a silent thief that steals moments before we even realize they're gone. Have you ever paused long enough to feel its quiet theft, to sense the weight of a second as it dissolves into the past? Time is a riddle we live within, a puzzle so familiar yet so utterly foreign. We mark its passage with clocks and calendars, as if by naming it, we can tame it. But does it truly exist beyond the constructs of our minds? Is time a river flowing ever forward, a straight line from birth to oblivion? Or does it curl back upon itself, like a serpent eating its own tail, a circle we cannot escape? Perhaps it is neither. Perhaps time is a fabric we've woven to make sense of the chaos, a story we tell ourselves to anchor the fleeting nature of existence. Think of a memory from your childhood, a fleeting instant that feels both distant and near. Was that moment truly years ago, or does it linger in some hidden corner of now, untouched by the illusion of progression? Consider the ancient philosophers who wrestled with this same enigma. In the stillness of a Grecian night, Heraclitus mused that one cannot step into the same river twice. for both the river and the person are ever changing. Yet, across centuries, Augustine of Hippo confessed that he knew what time was until he was asked to define it. Then, it became a mystery beyond words. Even now, as science measures time down to the smallest fraction of a second, we stand no closer to grasping its true nature. Is it a dimension, a force, or merely a perception, an artifact of consciousness itself? Take a moment to reflect on this. Feel the quiet rhythm of your breath, each inhale and exhale a tiny marker of time's passage. Where does this moment go once it slips away? Picture a child watching sand trickle through an hourglass, mesmerized by the steady fall of grains, each one a tiny world of now disappearing into the mound of then. That child does not yet know the weight of years, the way time can stretch thin in moments of joy or grow heavy under the burden of loss. But even as adults, do we truly understand it any better? We chase deadlines, mourn lost opportunities, and dream of futures yet to unfold, all while time dances just beyond our reach, a partner in a waltz we never fully learned. What if time is not the enemy we often make it out to be, not a thief, but a guide leading us through the labyrinth of being with a hand we cannot see? And so, we must ask ourselves, if time is an illusion, what lies beneath it? Is there a deeper current, an eternal stillness where past, present, and future collapse into a single, boundless now? Or are we forever bound to this fleeting dance, counting heartbeats until the music stops? Let this question linger in the quiet spaces of your mind, like the echo of a clock's chime fading into silence. Does time shape us? Or do we shape it with every choice, every memory, every fleeting thought that dares to defy its grasp? As you rest in this contemplation, imagine the world slowing around you, the hum of life softening into a whisper. Time, for all its mystery, is the canvas upon which we paint our existence. Whether it is real or imagined, linear or cyclical, it is the rhythm we move to, the silent melody of our days. And perhaps, in the end, the riddle of time is not meant to be solved, but to be felt, deeply, quietly, in the spaces between one moment and the next. Take a moment to reflect on this. Let the weight of now settle over you like a gentle tide, carrying you deeper into the mystery. Imagine, for a moment, that your mind is a mirror, perfectly still, infinitely deep, reflecting everything around you yet remaining unseen, untouched by the images it holds. What is this mysterious essence that gazes out from within? This quiet observer that feels, thinks, and wonders. Why do we experience the world as I, as a singular point of awareness in an endless sea of existence? Tonight, let us linger on the riddle of consciousness itself, an enigma so close to us that we often overlook its profound strangeness, a mystery that lies at the very heart of what it means to be. Consider the nature of this inner mirror. It captures the colors of a sunset, the weight of a sorrow, the fleeting joy of a laugh. And yet, what is it made of? It has no form, no texture, no edge we can trace with our fingers. We cannot step outside it to see it for what it is. We are bound within its gaze, forever looking through its lens. Is consciousness a gift, bestowed upon us by some cosmic design, allowing us to marvel at the tapestry of life? Or is it a burden, a relentless awareness that forces us to question, to ache, to search for meaning in a universe that offers no easy answers? Perhaps it is neither. Perhaps it is a cosmic accident, a quirk of nature, an emergent property of tangled neurons and electric sparks, a riddle that arose without intent or purpose. Let us wander deeper into this thought. Imagine a vast, ancient forest, silent under a starless sky. Each tree stands as a sentinel, rooted in the earth, alive in some primal way, yet unaware of its own being. It grows, it breathes, it decays, all without a whisper of I. Now picture yourself standing among those trees, feeling the cool air against your skin, hearing the rustle of leaves, knowing that you are there. What separates you from the tree? What invisible thread weaves through you, granting you the ability to reflect on your own existence, to ponder the forest, the sky, the very act of pondering? This thread, this consciousness, is a mystery as old as life itself, a puzzle that philosophers have wrestled with for millennia, from the dusty agora of Athens to the quiet meditation halls of distant mountains. Take a moment to reflect on this. Feel the weight of your own awareness, the quiet hum of thought that fills this very instant. Where does it come from? Where does it reside? Is it nestled in the folds of your brain? Or does it stretch beyond, a fragment of something vaster, something unknowable? Let us turn to an ancient idea, one whispered by thinkers like Descartes, who famously declared, "I think, therefore I am." But what if this certainty is merely the surface of a deeper riddle? To think is to be, yes. But what is this I that thinks? Is it a stable core, an unchanging soul, or is it a mirage, a story we tell ourselves to anchor our fleeting thoughts? Some traditions, like those of the East, suggest that consciousness is not personal at all, that the I is an illusion, a temporary wave on the surface of an infinite ocean. Beneath the wave, there is no separation, no individual self, only a boundless awareness that encompasses all. Could this be true? Could the mirror of consciousness reflect not just our personal world, but the entirety of existence? If only we could see beyond our own reflection. And yet, even as we ponder these lofty ideas, there is a humbling truth. We do not know. Science can map the brain's intricate pathways, can measure the dance of neurons as thoughts flicker into being, but it cannot explain why there is an inside to these processes, why there is a subjective experience at all. This is the hard problem of consciousness, a riddle that resists every tool we wield. It is as if we are trying to grasp the wind. We feel its presence, we see its effects, but we cannot hold it in our hands. Imagine now a child gazing into a still pond, seeing their face reflected back for the first time. They reach out, touching the water, watching the image ripple and distort, yet the essence of what they saw remains, untouchable, elusive. Is this not how we encounter our own consciousness? We sense it, we live within it, we see its effects in every thought and feeling. But when we reach for its true nature, it slips away, dissolving into ripples of questions without answers. Take a moment to reflect on this. Close your eyes, if only for a breath, and turn inward. Notice the quiet presence that watches your thoughts, that feels the rhythm of your being. What is it? Where does it begin? And where does it end? As we linger in this mystery, let us not rush to solve it, for perhaps the beauty of consciousness lies in its unknowability. It is the mirror that allows us to see the world, to feel its weight and wonder, to ask these very questions. Whether it is a gift, a burden, or a cosmic accident, it is the lens through which we experience all that is. And in this quiet hour, as the world around us fades into stillness, perhaps that is enough. To simply be aware, to marvel at the riddle of I, and to let it rest, unanswered, like a whisper carried on the night's gentle breeze. Imagine for a moment a world where the boundaries of reality dissolve as effortlessly as mist under the morning sun. A place where the impossible weaves itself into the fabric of the ordinary, where time stumbles and logic falters. This is the realm of dreams, a landscape so familiar yet so alien, a theatre of the mind where the rules of existence bend and break with each fleeting scene. Have you ever paused to wonder what dreams truly are? Are they mere echoes of our waking hours, random flickers of a restless brain? Or are they something more? Portals to parallel realms, glimpses of truths we cannot grasp in the harsh light of day. As you lie in the stillness of night, your consciousness slips its tether, drifting into a space where a single thought can birth entire worlds. One moment, you're walking through a city that feels like home, though you've never seen its streets before. The next, you're soaring over oceans of glass, weightless, untethered, as if gravity itself has forgotten you. In dreams, the past and future collapse into a single shimmering now. People long gone speak to you as if no time has passed, and places you've never been welcome you like old friends. There's a strange intimacy to it, a sense that you've stumbled into a deeper layer of existence, one that whispers secrets your waking mind cannot hear. Could it be that dreams are not illusions at all, but windows into something real, something hidden just beyond the veil of our everyday perception? Think of the stories we've told across centuries, tales of dreamwalkers and oracles who saw the future in their slumber, of shamans who journeyed to other worlds while their bodies lay still. The ancient Greeks believed dreams were messages from the gods, delivered through the gate of horn for truth or the gate of ivory for deception. In their view, the dreamscape was a sacred space, a bridge between the mortal and the divine. Even today, we search for meaning in the fragments of our nightly visions, jotting down half-remembered images, hoping to decode their cryptic language. What if they are more than random noise? What if, in some quiet corner of reality, our dreams are as tangible as the ground beneath our feet? Alternate lives we live when the world turns away. And then there's the question that lingers like a shadow at the edge of thought. What if this life, the one we call waking, is itself a dream? Philosophers like Zhuangzi, who awoke from a dream of being a butterfly only to wonder if he was now a butterfly dreaming of being a man, have long toyed with this riddle. If our dreams feel so vivid, so real while we're in them, how can we be certain this moment, your breath, the weight of your thoughts, is not just another layer of illusion? Perhaps we are caught in an endless cycle of waking and dreaming, each state blurring into the other until the very idea of real loses all meaning. Take a moment to reflect on this. Let your mind wander to the edges of what you believe to be true. What if you've yet to wake from the deepest dream of all? Consider the surreal logic of the dreamscape, where a single door can lead to 1,000 places, where time folds in on itself like a paper crane. In dreams, we are both creator and creation, weaving narratives from the raw material of our subconscious. A childhood memory might merge with a fleeting fear, crafting a story that feels both alien and achingly personal. There's a freedom in this, a release from the rigid structures of the waking world, but also a quiet unease. If dreams are a canvas for our deepest selves, what do they reveal about who we are? Do they show us our hidden desires, our buried fears, or something stranger still, a connection to a reality we cannot name? As you ponder this, let the mystery of dreams settle over you like a soft fog. They are a reminder that even in our most private moments, there are realms within us we do not fully understand. Perhaps they are mere illusions, the mind's way of processing the chaos of life. Or perhaps they are something more, a fleeting chance to touch the infinite, to step outside the boundaries of what we think we know. So, the next time you close your eyes and drift into that other world, pay attention to the whispers of the dreamscape. What truths might they hold, waiting just beyond the edge of memory, in a place where reality itself seems to bend and shimmer? Imagine for a moment that you are standing on the edge of an endless abyss, not one of earth or stone, but of something far vaster, far older. A canvas of darkness stretches before you, speckled with countless points of light, each one a distant world, a silent story. The universe unfurls in its infinite expanse, a silent riddle that has whispered to humanity since the first of us gazed upward in wonder. Why does something so immense, so incomprehensible, exist alongside something as fleeting and fragile as a single human thought? What are we in the face of such boundless scale? A mere speck of dust, or perhaps a vital thread in a tapestry, too grand to fathom? As you let your mind drift into this cosmic sea, consider the sheer magnitude of what surrounds us. Billions of galaxies, each cradling billions of stars, spin in a dance that began long before our ancestors drew breath. The light reaching your eyes tonight may have traveled for eons, a messenger from a time when the Earth itself was but a dream in the cosmic mind. And yet, here you are, a fleeting consciousness, contemplating this ancient light. There is a strange poetry in this meeting, a dialogue between the eternal and the ephemeral. Does the universe notice us at all, or are we like whispers lost in a storm, unheard and unnoticed? Or could it be that our very act of wondering, of reaching out with our questions, ties us to this vastness in ways we cannot yet grasp? Take a moment to reflect on this. Let the weight of the infinite settle gently around you. Feel the quiet paradox of your own smallness against the unending sprawl of existence. Are we insignificant in this grand design? Or does our capacity to ponder, to feel awe, grant us a significance beyond measure? Now let your thoughts wander deeper into the abyss. Imagine the universe not as a place, but as a question, one that has no edges, no answers, only layers upon layers of mystery. Scientists speak of dark matter and dark energy, invisible forces that shape the cosmos yet elude our understanding. They tell us the universe is expanding, stretching into an unknown beyond, as if it too is searching for something. What if the universe itself is incomplete, a riddle in progress, and we, tiny as we are part of its unfolding? What if every thought, every fleeting emotion, is a ripple in this cosmic current, contributing to a purpose we may never fully see? There is a certain humility in gazing into this endless night. It strips away the illusions of control, of certainty, and leaves us bare before the unknown. Yet, in that vulnerability, there is also a quiet strength. To stand beneath the stars and ask why is to participate in a dialogue as old as time itself. Perhaps we are not meant to solve the riddle of the universe, but to live within it, to let its vastness remind us of the miracle of our own existence. After all, in a reality so immense, is it not a wonder that we are here at all, conscious and curious, reaching for meaning in the dark? So, as you linger in this moment, let the infinite surround you. Feel the weight of countless worlds pressing gently against your thoughts, and wonder, are we truly separate from this vastness, or are we its reflection, a fragment of the cosmos gazing back at itself? Let this question drift with you, unanswered, like a star's light traveling through the endless night, carrying a mystery that needs no resolution, only the quiet beauty of being asked. Imagine, for a moment, that life is a grand theatre, a stage where every act unfolds with breathtaking precision, each scene a fleeting whisper of the eternal. The lights dim, the audience hushes, and as the final note of a haunting melody lingers, in the air, a heavy velvet curtain begins its slow descent. It falls with a grace that feels almost deliberate, as if it knows the weight of the moment it conceals. What lies beyond that curtain? Is it a void of endless black, a new stage awaiting its players, or something so vast and unfamiliar that our minds cannot yet fathom it? This is the riddle of death, the ultimate enigma that has haunted humanity since the first heartbeat quickened in the dark of time. It is not merely an end, but a question that echoes through every life, a shadow that walks beside us even in our brightest hours. Consider how we speak of death, how we cloak it in metaphors to soften its edge. We call it a journey, a crossing, a return. We imagine it as a river to be forded, a door to be opened, or a sleep from which we may or may not awaken. Yet beneath these gentle images lies a profound uncertainty, a chasm of unknowing that no story can fully bridge. Is death truly an end, a cessation of all that we are, where consciousness dissolves like mist under the morning sun? Or is it a transformation, a shedding of one form for another, as a caterpillar becomes something winged and unfamiliar? Perhaps it is a return, a homecoming to a place we've forgotten, a reunion with a source we can no longer name. Take a moment to reflect on this. What do you feel when you stand at the edge of this mystery? Does it stir fear, curiosity, or a quiet acceptance? Through the ages, humanity has wrestled with this question, crafting elaborate answers to tame the unknown. Ancient Egyptians built towering pyramids, not merely as tombs, but as vessels to carry their pharaohs into an afterlife of eternal splendor, a realm where death was not an end, but a gateway. In the teachings of Buddhism, death is but a pause in the endless cycle of rebirth, a moment of transition where the soul sheds its temporary shell to weave a new story. Even in the modern era, where science seeks to map the boundaries of life, we find ourselves turning to philosophy and faith, to poetry and art, to grapple with what cannot be measured or dissected. Why do we yearn so deeply to solve this riddle? Is it because death reminds us of our fragility, or because it hints at something greater, something just beyond the reach of our understanding? Picture a lone figure standing at the edge of a vast, quiet forest as twilight falls. The air is cool, the world hushed, and in the distance, a single star pierces the deepening sky. They know that somewhere within that forest lies a path they cannot yet see, a journey they must one day take. Do they fear the darkness, or do they trust that the path, though hidden, leads to a place of light? This is the essence of our dance. With mortality, it is not just the cessation of breath or the stilling of a heart. It is the question of what we leave behind and what we carry forward. Do our stories end with us, or do they ripple outward, touching lives we'll never know? Are we mere sparks, flickering briefly before fading into the night? Or are we part of a greater flame, one that burns beyond the veil of time? There is a strange beauty in this uncertainty, a poignancy that sharpens the colors of life, knowing that the curtain will one day fall. We are moved to love more fiercely, to create with abandon, to seek meaning in the fleeting. Yet the riddle remains, whispering to us in quiet moments, in the stillness before sleep, in the ache of loss. What awaits beyond that final act? Is it silence, or a chorus we've yet to hear? Is it nothingness, or a fullness we cannot yet imagine? Take a moment to reflect on this. Let the question settle within you, not as a burden, but as a quiet companion. A reminder that even in the face of the ultimate enigma, there is space for wonder. As the curtain falls in your mind's eye, let its descent be slow, deliberate, almost tender. Let it remind you that some questions are not meant to be answered. Not yet, perhaps not ever. They are meant to be held, to be pondered, to be lived with. Death, the ultimate enigma, is not a wall, but a horizon, a line where the known meets, the unknown, where the finite brushes against the infinite. And in that meeting, there is a kind of peace, a surrender to the mystery that cradles us all. So, let the curtain rest for now, let the stage remain unseen, and carry this riddle gently into the quiet of your thoughts as the world turns softly toward the night. Imagine for a moment that you stand at a crossroads, the air heavy with the weight of a decision yet to be made. The paths before you stretch into the twilight, each one whispering promises of different futures, yet none revealing their true end. Your heart beats with a quiet urgency, as if it knows something your mind cannot grasp. And in this silent hour, a question creeps into your thoughts, soft as a shadow, yet sharp enough to pierce through the noise of daily life. Are you truly the author of your choices, or are you merely following a script written by forces beyond your ken? This is the riddle of free will, an enigma that has haunted humanity since we first dared to question our place in the grand tapestry of existence. Picture yourself as a traveler in an ancient city, your every step echoing through narrow, winding streets. At each turn, you believe you choose your direction, left or right, forward or back. But what if the city itself, with its labyrinthine design, was crafted long before you arrived, guiding your steps without your knowing? What if the illusion of choice is the greatest artifice of all, a comforting veil draped over a reality too vast, too intricate for us to bear unveiled? Let us wander deeper into this thought. Consider the stars above, those distant sentinels of light that have burned for eons, their paths dictated by the unyielding laws of the cosmos. They do not choose their dance across the heavens. They are bound by gravity, by forces woven into the very fabric of being. And yet, when we gaze upon them, We see beauty, purpose, even destiny. Are we so different? Could it be that our lives, too, are shaped by unseen currents, patterns of cause and effect stretching back to the dawn of time, nudging us along a course we mistake for our own design? The philosopher Spinoza once mused that freedom is not the absence of necessity, but the understanding of it. If we are part of a grand cosmic script, does knowing this diminish us, or does it invite us to play our role with greater grace? Yet, there is another side to this ancient debate, a voice that whispers of rebellion against such predetermined lines. Think of a moment in your own life, a choice made in defiance of expectation, a leap into the unknown that felt wholly, fiercely your own. Perhaps it was a word spoken in passion, a path chosen against all advice, or a quiet resolve to change the course of your days. In that moment, did you not feel the raw pulse of agency, as if you held the pen that writes your story? The existentialists, those restless seekers of meaning, would argue that even if the universe is indifferent, even if our actions are shaped by countless unseen threads, we must act as if we are free. For in that act, we carve out a space of dignity, a fragile but defiant assertion of self against the void. Take a moment to reflect on this. Where in your life have you felt the tug of inevitability, and where have you pushed back, claiming a choice as your own? Sit with this tension, this delicate dance between freedom and fate, and let it linger in the quiet of your mind. Now, let us weave this riddle into a story from long ago, a tale from ancient Greece, where the concept of destiny was not merely philosophy, but a living, breathing force. The Greeks spoke of the Moirai, the three fates who spun, measured, and cut the thread of each human life. Clotho spun the thread, Lachesis measured its length, and Atropos, with her unyielding shears, severed it at the appointed time. Even the gods, mighty as they were, bowed to the will of the fates. Yet, within this ironclad framework, heroes like Odysseus still fought, still chose, still raged against their foretold ends. Was their struggle futile, a mere performance in a play already written? Or did their choices, however small, ripple through the weave of fate, altering its pattern in ways even the fates could not predict? This is the mystery that lingers at the crossroads of our being. If our lives are scripted, who holds the quill, the universe, a divine hand, or the quiet momentum of nature itself? And if we are free, why do we so often feel bound by chains we cannot see? Habits, fears, the weight of a past we did not choose? Perhaps the truth lies not in resolving this riddle, but in embracing its uncertainty. To live as if each choice matters, yet to surrender to the possibility that we are part of a larger story, one whose ending we may never fully know. As the twilight deepens around that imagined crossroads, let this question settle into your thoughts like a gentle mist. Feel the ground beneath your feet, the paths diverging before you, and ask yourself, does it matter whether the choice is truly mine, so long as I walk it with intention? Let this pondering drift with you, a quiet companion in the stillness, as we continue to explore the vast and shadowed landscape of existence. Imagine for a moment that you're standing in an endless field at twilight, the horizon a blur of fading light and creeping shadow. There, in the half-dark, you notice something peculiar, a shadow that moves just out of reach, always slipping away the moment you think you've caught it. This shadow isn't cast by any object you can see. It feels like something deeper, something tied to the very essence of why you're here, breathing, wondering. What if this shadow is meaning itself, the elusive purpose we chase through every thought, every choice, every quiet ache of the soul? Does it exist as a real destination, or is it a phantom we've conjured to keep ourselves moving forward through the vast uncertainty of life? Let's linger on this thought, allowing it to settle like dust after a long journey. The human heart seems wired to seek meaning, to find a thread that ties the chaos of existence into a coherent story. We look to love, to work, to faith, to art, each a lantern we hold up against the dark, hoping to illuminate a path. But what if meaning isn't a treasure to be unearthed, but a mirage that shifts with every step? Consider the ancient philosophers, those restless minds of Greece and India who sat beneath olive trees or beside sacred rivers, wrestling with this very riddle. Socrates claimed that the only true wisdom is in knowing you know nothing, as if the pursuit of meaning was less about finding an answer and more about learning to live within the question. Across centuries, the Sufi poet Rumi echoed a similar sentiment, suggesting that beyond ideas of right and wrong, there is a field, a space where meaning might not be grasped, but felt, like a breeze you can't hold in your hands. Take a moment to reflect on this. When was the last time you felt a deep sense of purpose? And did it come from something solid, or from a fleeting connection, a glance, a memory, a whisper of something greater? Perhaps meaning isn't a thing at all, but a dance between us and the world, a rhythm we step into for a moment before it fades. Think of a sailor lost at sea, navigating by stars he cannot touch, yet trusting their light to guide him. Is the meaning in reaching the shore, or in the endless act of sailing, of trusting, of searching? What if the void we fear, the emptiness we dread when meaning slips away, is not a void at all, but a canvas, waiting for us to paint our own fleeting truths upon it? Now let's drift deeper into this paradox. If meaning is something we create, are we then the authors of our own purpose? Or are we merely fooling ourselves to mask a deeper uncertainty? Imagine a child building a sandcastle on the shore, pouring heart and soul into every tower, every wall, knowing the tide will come to claim it. Does the castle's impermanence diminish its beauty, or does it make the act of building it even more profound? Perhaps our search for meaning mirrors this act, temporary, fragile, yet achingly human. We build our castles of belief and hope, not because they will last, but because the act of building them gives us a way to face the tide, to stand against the vastness for just a little while. And yet, there's a quiet unease in this thought, isn't there? If meaning is a construct, a story we tell ourselves, what lies beneath the story? Is there a raw, unadorned truth to existence that we've draped in layers of purpose to make it bearable? Some might say that life, stripped bare, is absurd, a cosmic accident with no inherent direction. The existentialists of the 20th century, like Camus, grappled with this, staring into the indifferent eyes of the universe and choosing to rebel by creating meaning anyway, as an act of defiance. Others, rooted in spiritual traditions, might argue that meaning is woven into the fabric of being itself, hidden in the pulse of every leaf, every breath, waiting for us to notice. Which do you feel drawn to? The rebellion of crafting your own purpose, or the surrender to a mystery that promises meaning beyond your understanding? Take a moment to reflect on this. Sit with the weight of this question, letting it rest gently in your mind. What if the riddle of meaning isn't meant to be solved at all? What if the search itself is the point? The endless chasing of a shadow not to catch it, but to feel the wind on your face as you run, to know you are alive in the pursuit. As the twilight deepens around you, as the field grows darker and the shadow more elusive, perhaps there's a strange peace in letting go of the need for a final answer. Perhaps meaning, like the stars above that sailor, isn't something to hold, but something to guide you through the night, a light that shines, not because it promises a destination, but because it reminds you to keep moving, to keep wondering, to keep feeling the mystery of it all. Imagine for a moment that the world you see around you, the walls that hold your space, the light that spills through your window, the very ground beneath your feet, is not as firm as it appears. What if reality, this intricate weave of sights and sounds and sensations, is merely a delicate tapestry, held together by threads so fine that a single tug could unravel it all? What lies beneath this surface we trust so implicitly? Could there be a deeper, stranger truth hidden just out of reach, waiting for us to notice the first loose strand? Let's linger on this thought as we drift into a quiet contemplation of reality's fragile fabric. Picture a grand tapestry hanging in an ancient hall, Its design so intricate that it tells the story of everything, every life, every moment, every star. From a distance, it seems whole, unyielding, a perfect representation of the world as we know it. But step closer, and you see the threads, each one woven with care, yet trembling under the weight of the greater pattern. What happens if you reach out and pull just one? Does the entire story collapse, revealing a void? Or perhaps something else, something we've never dared to imagine? This is the riddle that haunts us when we dare to question the solidity of our existence. Is reality a fortress, or is it a house of cards, waiting for the slightest breath to send it tumbling? Consider how often we take the world at face value, trusting our senses to paint an accurate picture. The chair beneath you feels real. The hum of the night outside feels real. The weight of your thoughts feels real. Yet, science itself whispers unsettling doubts into our ears. Quantum mechanics, that strange and ghostly realm of the very small, suggests that reality might not be fixed at all, that particles exist in a state of possibility until observed, as if the act of looking weaves the thread into place. Are we then the weavers of this tapestry, stitching together a world that only seems solid because we believe it to be so? Or are we merely caught in someone else's design, unaware of the hands that pull the strings? Take a moment to reflect on this. Let your mind wander to a memory, a moment when the world felt oddly unreal, a dreamlike instant where the edges of things seemed to blur, or a sudden realization that time itself had slipped out of rhythm. Did you feel, even for a heartbeat, that the fabric of reality had thinned, offering a glimpse of something beyond? Let's drift deeper into this mystery, imagining a world where perception is not a window to truth, but a veil that obscures it. In ancient philosophies, from the caves of Plato to the teachings of the East, there are whispers of this very idea, that what we call reality is but a shadow, a flickering illusion cast upon the walls of our minds. Plato spoke of prisoners chained in a cave, mistaking shadows for the real world, never knowing the sunlit truth outside. The Vedantic traditions of India speak of Maya, the illusion that cloaks the ultimate reality, tricking us into believing in a world of separation and form. What if they were right? What if the tapestry of our lives is not the final truth, but a beautiful deception, hiding a reality so vast, so strange, that our minds recoil from its touch? Now, let this thought settle gently over you like a soft mist. Imagine yourself standing before that ancient tapestry once more, your fingers hovering over a single thread. Do you pull it, risking the collapse of everything you know, or do you step back, content to live within the weave as it is? There is no right answer, no final certainty to grasp. Perhaps the fragility of reality is not a flaw, but a quiet invitation, a call to wonder, to question, to live with eyes wide open to the possibility that nothing is as it seems. What would it mean to embrace this uncertainty? To walk through a world that might dissolve at any moment, yet still find beauty in its fleeting design. As we rest here in this thought, let the weight of the question linger. Reality, with all its seeming solidity, may be more delicate than we dare to admit, and perhaps that fragility is what makes it so precious, a reminder that every moment, every breath, is a thread in a pattern we may never fully understand. So, for now, let us sit with the mystery, gazing at the tapestry of existence with quiet awe, wondering what truths lie just beyond the next unraveling strand. And imagine for a moment a silence so deep, so absolute, that it seems to hum with a presence of its own. A silence that isn't just the absence of sound, but something heavier, something alive in its own enigmatic way. This is the void, the concept of nothingness, a riddle that sits at the edge of human thought, daring us to peer into its depths. What is nothingness really? Is it a space where something once was, or a state that defies even the idea of existence? Can we truly conceive of nothing, or does the very act of thinking about it transform it into something? a shadow, a whisper, a ghost of a thought. Picture yourself standing at the edge of an endless abyss, not of stone or earth, but of pure, unformed emptiness. There's no wind, no echo, no faint glimmer of light to guide your gaze. It's as if the universe itself has paused, holding its breath, leaving only this profound absence in its place. And yet, in this silence, there's a strange kind of weight. It presses against you, not with force, but with questions. Why does the idea of nothingness unsettle us so deeply? Is it because we, as beings of substance and story, are wired to seek meaning, to fill every hollow space with purpose or presence? Or is the void a mirror reflecting our own fear of being unmade, of dissolving into something we cannot name? Consider the ancient philosophers who wrestled with this very puzzle. In the quiet of their minds, they pondered whether nothingness could truly exist. Parmenides, a thinker of ancient Greece, argued that nothing cannot be, for to speak of it is to give it form, to make it something. Yet, in the stillness of our own hearts, don't we feel the pull of the void? Isn't there a part of us that senses it in the gaps between our thoughts, in the moments before sleep claims us, when the world fades and we are left with what? A flicker of nothing, perhaps, a space where even the self seems to dissolve. Take a moment to reflect on this. Have you ever felt the weight of absence, not just of a person or a thing, but of something deeper, something unplaceable? That quiet ache, that unspoken void, does it frighten you or does it call to you, like a mystery waiting to be unraveled? Now, let's wander further into this enigma. Imagine nothingness not as an enemy, but as a companion, a silent partner to all that is. Without the void, could there be form? Without emptiness, could there be fullness? Think of a canvas before the artist's brush touches it, an expanse of nothing that holds the potential for everything. Or the silence between notes in a melody, a nothingness that shapes the music as much as the sound itself. Is the void then not a lack, but a necessary balance, a riddle that challenges our instinct to fill every space, to answer every question? And yet, there's a haunting edge to this thought. If nothingness is so integral, so woven into the fabric of existence, why do we resist it? Why do we build lives brimming with noise and motion, as if to drown out the silence that waits patiently at the edges? Perhaps it's because the void asks us to confront the impermanence of all things. It whispers that everything, our joys, our sorrows, our very selves, might one day return to that unformed state, that endless quiet. Or perhaps it's simpler than that. Perhaps the void unnerves us because it defies definition, slipping through the nets of language and logic, leaving us with nothing to grasp, nothing to hold. Let this thought linger as you rest in this moment. Imagine the void not as a threat, but as a vast, silent ocean, stretching out beyond the horizon of understanding. What does it stir within you, this riddle of nothingness? Does it beckon you to let go, to surrender to the unknown? Or does it urge you to cling tighter to the fleeting warmth of existence? In the quiet of this night, there are no answers, only the gentle hum of a question that has echoed through the ages. What is nothingness, and why does it speak so loudly in its silence? Imagine for a moment a quiet evening, the kind where the world seems to hold its breath. The sky is a deep indigo, and the first stars are just beginning to pierce through the dusk. In this stillness, two souls sit across from one another, their eyes meeting not with words, but with a silent question that neither can answer. What is this force that draws them together, this invisible thread that tugs at the heart despite all reason? Love, in its essence, appears as a cosmic puzzle, a riddle woven into the fabric of our being, defying explanation, yet shaping the very core of who we are. Consider the nature of this enigmatic force. It arrives unbidden, often when we least expect it, like a sudden gust of wind that stirs a calm sea into waves. It can be a fleeting glance that lingers in memory for years, or a lifetime spent unraveling the depths of another's soul. But what is love truly? Is it merely a trick of biology, a cascade of chemicals in the brain designed to ensure our survival as a species? A cold, calculated mechanism hidden beneath the warmth of a touch or the comfort of a shared silence? Or is it something more, something transcendent? A spiritual connection that echoes across lifetimes, hinting at a unity we've forgotten in our fragmented existence. Let us wander deeper into this mystery through a story of two wanderers, each carrying their own burdens of unanswered questions. They meet by chance on a winding path through an ancient forest, where the trees seem to whisper secrets older than time itself. At first, their words are cautious, tentative, as if testing the ground beneath them. But as the days pass, something shifts. They begin to see themselves reflected in the other, not as mere mirrors of flesh and bone, but as fragments of a greater whole. In each smile, in each shared sorrow, they search for answers, hoping to understand why this connection feels both so familiar and so utterly unknowable. Yet the more they seek, the more questions arise. Is this bond a gift bestowed by the universe, or a mirror of their own longing, projecting a unity that may not exist outside their hearts? Take a moment to reflect on this. Have you ever felt a connection so profound that it seemed to defy all logic, as if it were written in the stars long before you were born? Or have you wondered if love is simply a story we tell ourselves to soften the edges of our solitude? As we linger in this thought, let us consider another layer of the puzzle. Love often appears as a paradox, a force that both binds and frees us. It can lift us to heights of joy, where the world seems to shimmer with meaning, yet it can also plunge us into depths of pain, where every moment feels like a shard of glass beneath the skin. Why does something so vital carry such duality? Is it because love is not merely an emotion, but a confrontation with our own vulnerability? A reminder that to truly connect is to risk being broken? Or perhaps, in its essence, love is a riddle that forces us to face ourselves, stripping away the illusions we cling to, revealing the raw, unfinished edges of who we are. There's a certain mystery in how love shapes our understanding of existence itself. In the presence of another, we often feel the boundaries of our individuality blur, as if for a fleeting moment, we are no longer separate, but part of something vast and timeless. Yet, this very sensation raises a haunting question. Are we truly connecting with another, or are we chasing a reflection of our own desires, our own need to be seen and understood? Is love a bridge between two souls, or a labyrinth where we wander, endlessly seeking an exit that may not exist? Let this thought settle into the quiet corners of your mind as we drift further into the enigma. Imagine those two wanderers again, now sitting beneath a canopy of stars, their voices hushed as they share dreams and fears they've never spoken aloud. In this moment, they are not solving the riddle of love, nor are they trying to. They are simply existing within it, allowing its questions to wash over them like a gentle tide. Perhaps this is the true nature of love, not a puzzle to be solved, but a mystery to be lived, a force that asks us to surrender to the unknown rather than conquer it. And so, as the night deepens around us, let us rest in this uncertainty. What is love to you? Is it a fleeting illusion, a cosmic dance, or a mirror that shows you both who you are and who you wish to be? Whatever it may be, let it linger as a quiet companion in this moment, a riddle that does not demand an answer, but invites you to wonder. Imagine for a moment that you're standing on the shore of a vast, uncharted ocean. The waves crash gently against the sand, their rhythm a quiet reminder of something ancient, something beyond your grasp. Before you lies an endless expanse of water, shimmering under a sky that seems to hold secrets in its silence. This ocean is not made of water, but of mystery itself, the unknown that surrounds every fragment of our understanding. And you, standing there, are merely on a tiny island of knowledge, a speck of certainty in a sea of questions. What lies beyond the horizon? Will we ever sail far enough to uncover the full truth of existence? Or are some riddles destined to remain unsolved? Their enigma a guiding star rather than a destination? Consider the nature of what we call knowledge. We build our lives upon it, stacking facts and theories like bricks to construct a fortress of understanding. We map the stars, decode the building blocks of life, and trace the arc of history, believing each discovery brings us closer to the ultimate truth. Yet, with every answer, a new question emerges, like a shadow cast by the light of our own curiosity. The more we know, the more we realize how little we truly comprehend. It's as if the island we stand on grows smaller with each step we take, the ocean of the unknown stretching wider, deeper, more unfathomable. Are we meant to conquer this sea, or are we simply voyagers, learning to navigate its currents with wonder rather than conquest? Think of the ancient philosophers, those early explorers of thought, who stood on their own islands of understanding thousands of years ago. Socrates, with his relentless questioning, believed that true wisdom lay in recognizing one's own ignorance. He saw knowledge not as a treasure to hoard, but as a mirror reflecting how much remained hidden. In his dialogues, he would unravel the certainties of others, not to prove them wrong, but to reveal the vastness of what they did not know. Even today, as we peer through telescopes into the cosmos or delve into the quantum intricacies of reality, we echo his realization. Each breakthrough, each glimpse of the universe's machinery, only deepens the mystery. Does this endless frontier of the unknown frustrate us, or does it ignite a quiet thrill, a reminder that there is always more to seek? Take a moment to reflect on this. What is it that drives us to keep searching, to keep asking, when the ocean of mystery seems infinite? Is it the hope of one day charting its entirety? Or is there something sacred in the act of wondering itself? Now, let's wander a little further along this shore. Imagine the boundary between what we know and what we don't as a thin, shimmering veil. Beyond it lies the nature of reality itself. Questions about time, consciousness, the origin of all things. We press our hands against this veil, sensing shapes and whispers on the other side, but never quite piercing through. Some say this boundary is a limitation, a wall that mocks our finite minds. Others see it as a gift, a reminder to cherish the journey rather than the endpoint. If we knew everything, would life still hold its quiet magic? Would the stars still draw our gaze upward on a clear night? Or would they become mere points of data, stripped of their poetry? There's a certain humility in accepting the limits of our understanding. Like sailors who know they cannot tame the sea, we learn to respect the vastness, to let it shape us as much as we shape our maps of it. Perhaps the riddles that remain unsolved are not barriers, but companions, quiet voices that urge us to keep looking, to keep dreaming. What if the purpose of these mysteries is not to be unraveled, but to remind us of our place in a universe too grand to fully hold? What if wonder itself is the truest form of knowledge, a way of being that connects us to the infinite without needing to claim it? And so, as you stand on this imagined shore, gazing out at the endless ocean of the unknown, let yourself linger in this space of not knowing. Feel the cool sand beneath your feet, the whisper of the waves carrying questions. Older than time, there is no rush to sail beyond the horizon, no urgency to map every depth. For now, it is enough to stand here, to breathe in the mystery, and to let it remind you that some riddles are not meant to be solved, but to be lived. Take a moment to reflect on this. What unknown draws you most, and how does it shape the way you see the world? Let that question settle into the quiet of your mind, like a pebble dropped into still water, sending ripples into the night. Imagine a vast desert under a twilight sky, where the sands stretch endlessly in every direction, shifting with the faintest whisper of wind. Each grain seems to hold a secret, a story of where it has been, of the countless hands and winds that have shaped its journey. But as you stand there, watching the dunes rise and fall, like the breath of some ancient slumbering giant, a question emerges from the stillness. What is right and what is wrong? In a world where even the landscape refuses to stay the same, what anchors us when morality itself seems to be written on these shifting sands, erased and redrawn with every passing storm? Consider for a moment the laws we hold dear, the codes of conduct we've etched into the stone of our societies. We speak of justice, of virtue, of an unshakable sense of what ought to be. Yet, step back through the corridors of time, and you'll find that what was once deemed righteous in one era becomes the sin of another. A king of old might have been praised for conquest, for spilling blood in the name of glory, while today we shudder at such acts, cloaking our judgments in the language of peace. Even within a single lifetime, the ground beneath our moral feet can tremble. Personal beliefs we once clung to as truths can crumble under the weight of new perspectives, new experiences. Is morality, then, a universal compass, pointing always to some eternal north? Or is it merely a map we draw ourselves, a fragile attempt to navigate the chaos of choice in a world that offers no clear signposts? Picture a traveler in this desert, weary and alone, faced with a decision. He carries a small flask of water, barely enough to sustain him through the night. Ahead, he sees another figure, slumped against a dune, parched and fading under the relentless sun. To share his water might save a life, but it could cost him his own. To walk on, to preserve himself, might ensure his survival, but at the price of another's suffering. What is the right choice here, in this barren expanse, where no one else will ever know what he decides? Does morality exist only when there are witnesses, or does it whisper to us, even in the deepest solitude? A voice we cannot silence, no matter how far we wander. Take a moment to reflect on this. What would you do, standing in that traveler's worn and tattered shoes, with the weight of a life balanced against your own? Let us wander further into history's pages, to a time when entire civilizations built their moral foundations on ideas we now question. In ancient lands, sacrifice, human or otherwise, was often seen as a sacred duty, a way to appease unseen forces, to ensure the sun would rise again. To them, it was not cruelty, but necessity, a moral act woven into the fabric of their understanding. Yet, centuries later, we look back with unease, asking how such practices could ever have been deemed right. But are we so different now? What certainties do we hold today that future generations might one day condemn? Are we too standing on shifting sands, unaware of how the winds of time will reshape the dunes of our ethics? Perhaps morality is not a mountain, immutable and eternal, but a river, flowing, bending, carving new paths through the landscape of human experience. It changes with the terrain, with the stories we tell, the suffering we endure, the wisdom we gain. Some might argue it is a human invention, a construct born of our need for order, a way to tame the wild unpredictability of existence. Others might whisper of something deeper, a quiet instinct buried in our bones, a sense of rightness that transcends culture or era, as if the universe itself hums with a moral tune we can faintly hear if only we listen closely enough. But which is it? Is there a core to morality, a truth we can unearth beneath the ever-moving surface? Or are we forever doomed to redefine it, to chase an ideal that slips through our fingers like sand in the wind? There is a certain mystery in this uncertainty, a riddle that invites us not to solve it, but to sit with it. Imagine yourself now, resting on the edge of that desert dune as the last light of day fades into a deep, velvet night. The air grows cool, and the silence wraps around you like a cloak. In this quiet, the question of right and wrong feels less like a problem to be answered and more like a companion, a shadow that walks beside you on this endless journey. Does it matter if morality is universal or invented? If in this moment you can feel the pull of compassion, the weight of responsibility, the flicker of doubt, perhaps the shifting sands are not a curse but a reminder that to be human is to question, to adapt, to seek a balance between the self and the other, even when the path ahead is obscured by the dust of uncertainty. Take a moment to reflect on this. What moral ground do you stand on, and how has it shifted beneath you over time? Let your thoughts drift like grains of sand carried on a gentle breeze, knowing there is no need for answers tonight. Only the quiet wonder of the question itself, echoing across the vast, untamed desert of the mind. Imagine for a moment, standing at the edge of a vast, unseen hall, a place where every surface is a mirror, reflecting not just your face, but the endless stretch of time itself. Each reflection bounces into another and another, until the boundaries of beginning and end dissolve into a shimmering haze. This is the riddle of eternity, a concept so immense, so unfathomable, that it seems to whisper secrets our minds can barely touch. Does eternity comfort us with the promise of something beyond? Or does it haunt us with the weight of the infinite, a puzzle too vast for our fleeting thoughts to hold? Let's wander deeper into this hall of mirrors, where every step echoes with questions that have lingered through the ages. Eternity is not just a word, it's a feeling, a shadow that falls across every moment of joy, every pang of sorrow. The ancient Greeks spoke of Chronos, the relentless march of time, and Kairos, the fleeting, perfect moment. But beyond both lies something else, something that neither ticks nor pauses, something that simply is. Can we imagine a state where time ceases to carve its lines into our lives? A realm where past, present, and future collapse into a single, boundless now? Or does the very thought of such a thing unsettle us, as if gazing into an abyss that stares back with no answers, only silence? Consider the way we cling to the idea of forever in our quietest dreams. We build monuments to outlast us, carve our names into stone, whisper promises of eternal love beneath starlit skies. Yet, in the same breath, we tremble at the notion of an endless existence. What would it mean to live without the comfort of an ending, without the shape that a finite life gives to our choices? Would we find meaning in an eternal dance? Or would we grow weary, adrift in a sea with no shore? Take a moment to reflect on this. What does eternity stir within you? A sense of peace or a quiet dread? Let's turn to the thinkers who have wrestled with this riddle across centuries. Augustine, in his Confessions, spoke of time as a distension of the soul, a stretching of the self across the now and the not yet. He wondered if eternity was God's domain, a place where all moments are held in a single perfect gaze. Yet, even he admitted that to grasp eternity was to reach beyond the limits of human thought, as if trying to hold the ocean in a cupped hand. Centuries later, philosophers like Nietzsche circled back to this enigma with the idea of eternal recurrence, the notion that every moment of our lives might repeat infinitely. Would you embrace such a fate, reliving every triumph and every pain, or would you recoil from the weight of it all? Picture now a single grain of sand slipping through an hourglass. In our mortal perception, it falls, it lands, it is done. But what if that grain were caught in an endless loop, falling and rising, with no bottom to settle upon? Eternity might be that loop, a cycle we cannot see the edges of, a rhythm that plays beyond the range of our hearing, or perhaps it is not a loop at all, but a stillness, a vast and unmoving presence that cradles every second we've ever lived. Does this thought soothe you, as if you're part of something grander than yourself? Or does it leave you feeling small, a mere whisper in an unending song? As we linger in this mirrored hall, let's ask one final question before we step away. If eternity exists, if it truly stretches before and behind us in ways we cannot fathom, what does that mean for this very moment? Does it diminish the weight of now, or does it make every breath, every fleeting thought, infinitely precious? Perhaps eternity is not a riddle to solve, but a mystery to feel, a quiet hum beneath the surface of our days, reminding us that we are both bound by time and yet somehow touched by the timeless. Let this thought settle over you like a soft, unseen mist. What does eternity whisper to you in the stillness of this night? Imagine a world where every step forward reveals a new turn, a new wall, a new promise of escape that somehow leads you deeper into the maze. This is the labyrinth of technology, a creation of our own hands that both frees and confines us in ways we are only beginning to understand. As the quiet hum of machines surrounds us, as the glow of screens becomes a second moonlight, we find ourselves at the heart of a double-edged riddle. Are we the architects of our salvation, or are we crafting the very chains that bind us? Consider, for a moment, the smartphone in your hand, a small slab of glass and metal that holds within it the sum of human knowledge. It connects you to voices across oceans, to ideas that span centuries, to faces you may never see in the flesh. It is a marvel, a bridge built from circuits and code, shrinking the vastness of the world into something you can cradle in your palm. And yet, in the same breath, it pulls you away from the person sitting across from you, from the rustle of leaves outside your window, from the quiet rhythm of your own thoughts. It offers connection, but at the cost of presence. It promises answers, but drowns you in endless questions. Is this progress? Or have we wandered into a trap of our own making? Let's journey back for a moment to a time before these digital labyrinths, to an era where the most complex tool was a quill or a hammer. Life was slower then, bound by the limits of distance and the pace of human hands. A letter took weeks to cross a continent, and solitude was not a choice, but a condition of existence. Yet in that simplicity, there was a kind of clarity, a space to sit with oneself, to wrestle with the rawness of being without the distraction of 1,000 notifications. Now, in our age of instant everything, we have traded that quiet for a ceaseless buzz, a relentless stream of information that fills every corner of silence. Have we solved the riddle of isolation, or have we merely replaced one form of loneliness with another, one that hides behind the illusion of endless connection? Think of technology as a mirror, reflecting not just what we are, but what we fear and desire. It shows us our hunger for control, our longing to transcend the limits of flesh and time. Through algorithms, we seek to predict the future. Through virtual realms, we escape the confines of the present. But mirrors can distort as much as they reveal. Every innovation, from the wheel to the web, has carried within it a shadow, a potential for misuse, for division, for loss. The printing press democratized knowledge, but also spread propaganda. The Industrial Revolution built empires, but scarred the earth. And now, as artificial minds begin to mimic our own, we stand at the edge of a new precipice, peering into a future where the line between creator and creation blurs. Are we solving the riddles of existence with these tools, or are we weaving new enigmas, ones that may outlast our ability to unravel them? Take a moment to reflect on this. How often do you reach for a device to fill a void, to distract from a question you'd rather not face? What does it mean to be human in a world where our thoughts are shaped by algorithms, where our memories are stored in clouds rather than in the quiet corners of our minds? As we wander deeper into this labyrinth, let's not forget the ancient myth of Daedalus, the craftsman who built a maze so intricate that even he could barely escape it. His creation was meant to contain a monster, but in doing so, it trapped all who entered. Technology, too, is our labyrinth, a structure of our own design meant to solve our problems, to contain the chaos of life. Yet with every new turn, we risk losing ourselves within it. Social media promises community, but breeds comparison. Surveillance offers safety, but erodes trust. Artificial intelligence holds the potential to heal or to harm, depending on the hands that guide it. Each advancement is a thread in the maze, leading us forward. But to what end? Are we nearing the exit, or are we simply building walls higher, around us? And so we stand here, in the dim light of our own inventions, surrounded by the hum of progress and the whisper of doubt. Perhaps the true riddle of technology is not whether it connects or isolates, not whether it saves or destroys, but whether we can ever step back from it long enough to see it for what it is, a reflection of our own restless nature. We are the ones who built this labyrinth after all. We are the ones who choose each turn, each path, even as we wonder if the choice was ever truly ours. As the night deepens and the world grows still, let this question linger in the quiet. Are we mastering technology, or is it slowly, subtly mastering us? Imagine for a moment a quiet, shadowed room where the world outside has fallen silent, and all that remains is the faint whisper of your own thoughts. There, in that stillness, a question begins to form, heavy and unyielding, like a stone dropped into a still pond. Why does suffering weave itself so deeply into the fabric of our lives? What purpose does it serve in this vast, unknowable tapestry of existence? Tonight, let us linger on this profound riddle, not to solve it, but to sit with its weight, to feel its edges, and to wonder at the lessons it might hold in its dark embrace. Suffering is a teacher unlike any other, cloaked in shadow, speaking in a language we often struggle to understand. It arrives unbidden, sometimes as a sharp, sudden wound, other times as a slow, aching presence that lingers for years. It can be the loss of something cherished, the sting of failure, or the quiet despair of a life that feels unmoored. And yet, as we bear its burden, we cannot help but ask, is this pain a necessary thread in the weave of our growth, or is it a cruel anomaly, a tear in the design of what life ought to be? Does it shape us with intention, carving wisdom into our bones, or does it simply break us, leaving fragments we must piece together in the dark? Consider the ancient stories of humanity, tales etched into stone and whispered through generations. In every culture, suffering emerges as a central motif, a trial that heroes must endure to uncover their strength. Think of the Greek myth of Prometheus bound to a rock, his liver torn out each day only to regrow by night, punished for the gift of fire he bestowed upon humankind. His agony was not without purpose. It was a sacrifice, a bridge between the divine and the mortal. Or recall the teachings of the Buddha, who saw suffering as the first noble truth, the inescapable reality from which all seeking begins. For him, pain was not an end but a beginning, a call to awaken, to step beyond the cycle of desire and loss. These stories, separated by oceans and centuries, seem to murmur the same quiet truth. Suffering, though heavy, is a forge. It burns away what is shallow, leaving behind something harder, something truer. But is this always so? Take a moment to reflect on this. Has your own suffering ever revealed a strength you did not know you possessed? Or has it only left you searching for a meaning that never comes? Let us wander deeper into this enigma, imagining suffering as a dark river that runs beneath the surface of life. We cannot see its source, nor do we know where it leads, but we feel its current pulling us along. Sometimes it sweeps us under, and we gasp for breath, desperate for reprieve. Other times, it carries us gently, teaching us to float, to surrender to its flow. And in those moments of surrender, do we not glimpse something profound? A quiet resilience, perhaps, or a tender empathy for others who drift beside us on their own shadowed streams. Yet, there are times when the river offers no such clarity, when its waters are cold and opaque, and we are left to wonder why we must endure at all. Is there a design to this pain, a hidden hand guiding its course, or are we simply at the mercy of a chaotic, indifferent tide? Now, let us turn this question inward, to the heart of our own experience. Think of a moment when suffering touched your life, a memory that still carries a faint ache. Perhaps it was a betrayal that shattered your trust, or a dream that slipped through your fingers like sand. In the aftermath, did you find a lesson etched into the pain, a truth about yourself or the world that you could not have seen otherwise? Or does that moment remain a riddle, a wound that refuses to heal, a question mark etched into your soul? There is no shame in not knowing the answer, for suffering does not always speak clearly. Sometimes It is a silent companion, walking beside us for years before we understand its purpose, if we ever do at all. And so, we come to the deepest layer of this mystery. How do we reconcile the presence of suffering with our longing for peace? If life is a garden, then suffering is the storm that uproots what we have carefully planted. Yet, after the storm passes, do we not often find new growth in the broken soil, tender shoots reaching for the light? Or is this merely a story we tell ourselves, a way to make sense of the senseless, to find solace in a world that offers no guarantees? Perhaps the riddle lies not in suffering itself, but in our response to it, in the way we choose to carry its weight, to weave it into the larger story of who we are. Take a moment to reflect on this. How have you carried your own storms, and what have they taught you about the quiet strength that lies within? As we linger here, let us not rush to unravel this enigma, for some questions are not meant to be answered in a single night. Suffering, like a dark star in the sky of our existence, casts both shadow and light. It reminds us of our fragility, but also of our capacity to endure, to rise again even when we feel broken. And perhaps that is enough for now, to sit with this riddle, to let it breathe beside us, to wonder at its strange, painful beauty. For in the end, it is not the absence of suffering that defines us, but the way we meet it, the way we allow it to shape the contours of our ever-unfolding story. Imagine a quiet room at dusk, where the last light of day spills through a window, casting long shadows across a canvas propped against the wall. The painting seems alive, its colors shifting subtly as if whispering secrets you can't quite hear. What is it about art that stirs something so deep within us, something we can't name but feel with every fiber of our being? Is it a mirror reflecting the unknown parts of ourselves, or a riddle that dares us to look beyond the surface of our reality? Consider for a moment the act of creation itself. When an artist picks up a brush, or a writer a pen, or a musician an instrument, they step into a space where the ordinary rules of the world seem to dissolve. It's as if they're reaching into a void, pulling out fragments of something eternal, something that doesn't belong to them alone, but to all of humanity. A painting might capture a fleeting emotion, a melody might echo a forgotten memory, a poem might unravel a truth we didn't know we carried. But where does this come from? Is art a revelation of hidden truths, a glimpse into a realm beyond our own, or is it merely an illusion, a beautiful lie we tell ourselves to make sense of the chaos within? Think of a piece of art that has haunted you, one that seems to change every time you return to it. Perhaps it's a painting like the Mona Lisa, her enigmatic smile teasing at a secret you'll never uncover. Each time you gaze upon it, you see something new. A flicker of sadness, a hint of mischief, a shadow of longing. It's as if the artwork itself is alive, evolving with your own perspective, reflecting not just the artist's intent, but the depths of your own soul. Does this mean the painting holds a truth about existence, or is it simply a canvas for our own projections, a riddle we solve only with the pieces of ourselves we bring to it? Let's wander back through time to the caves of Lascaux, where ancient hands pressed pigment to stone, etching images of beasts and hunters beneath the flickering light of a fire. These early creators, thousands of years removed from us, left behind not just pictures, but a mystery. Were they telling stories of survival, invoking spirits, or simply expressing a primal urge to leave a mark on the world? Their art, crude yet profound, speaks across millennia, reminding us that the impulse to create is as old as humanity itself. But what were they truly saying? Were they reaching for something beyond their immediate reality, something they couldn't grasp but felt compelled to capture? Or were they, like us, wrestling with the unknown, using art as a way to confront the vast unspoken questions of existence? Take a moment to reflect on this. What does it mean to create something that outlives you, something that speaks when you no longer can? Is art a defiance of mortality, a way to etch our essence into the fabric of time? Or is it a Surrender to the mystery, an admission that we can never fully understand why we feel the need to make beauty out of nothing. Now imagine standing before a sculpture, its form so lifelike you swear it might breathe. The artist has poured countless hours into shaping stone or clay, breathing life into the lifeless. Yet, the more perfect the work, the more it unsettles. It mimics reality so closely that it forces us to question what reality even is. Is this creation a triumph of human skill, or does it reveal a deeper riddle, that the line between the real and the imagined is thinner than we dare to admit? Perhaps art isn't just a reflection of the world, but a portal to something else, a place where the impossible becomes tangible, if only for a moment. There's a quiet melancholy in this thought, isn't there? Art, for all its beauty, often carries a sense of longing, as if the artist is always reaching for something just out of grasp. A painter might spend a lifetime chasing the perfect shade of blue, a composer the perfect note to convey a heartbreak. And yet, isn't there something profound in this endless pursuit? Could it be that art's true purpose isn't to provide answers, but to embody the questions themselves, to hold space for the mysteries we can't solve? Like a riddle carved into the heart of existence, art asks us to look closer, to feel deeper, to wonder without end. Consider the artist as a kind of alchemist, transforming the raw material of life, pain, joy, fear, love, into something transcendent. But unlike the alchemist of old, they don't seek gold or immortality. They seek understanding, or perhaps simply the courage to face the unknown. Every stroke of the brush, every word on the page, is a step into the dark, a quiet rebellion against the silence of oblivion. And yet, the riddle remains. Does art reveal the soul of the creator, or does it conceal it, wrapping their deepest truths in layers of symbol and metaphor for us to unravel? As the evening deepens and the world outside grows still, let this thought linger with you. Art, in all its forms, is a mirror held up to the unknown, reflecting not just who we are, but who we might be, what we fear, and what we long for. It's a riddle without a solution, a question without an answer, and perhaps that's why it moves us so. In its presence, we're reminded that some mysteries aren't meant to be solved. They're meant to be felt, to be lived, to be carried with us into the quiet spaces of our minds. So, what piece of art has spoken to you in a way you can't explain? And what riddle does it whisper to you in the stillness? Imagine for a moment a vast, quiet expanse, a world where souls drift like lanterns in the night, each glowing with a light that yearns for another. There's a pull, an unspoken ache, a whisper in the heart that draws us toward one another, even when the distance feels insurmountable. Why do we seek connection so desperately, as if it were the very breath that sustains us? Is this longing woven into the fabric of our being, or is it a riddle born from the shadow of solitude, haunting us with the fear of being truly alone? Picture two figures standing on opposite sides of a great chasm, their outlines barely visible through a veil of mist. They cannot see each other clearly, yet they sense a presence, a flicker of something familiar, something essential. They stretch their hands out, not to touch, but to feel the invisible thread that might bridge the divide. This is the essence of our human journey, the endless reach for connection, for a moment of recognition in another's eyes, for a whisper that says, "I see you, and in seeing you, I am seen." But what drives this need? Is it a primal instinct, a remnant of ancient days when survival depended on the warmth of the tribe? Or is it something deeper, a cosmic yearning to return to a unity we've long forgotten? Consider the paradox at the heart of this riddle. We are born into separateness, each of us encased in the solitary vessel of our own mind, our own experience. No matter how close we come to another, there remains an impenetrable wall, the barrier of individuality. I can speak my thoughts, share my dreams, even bare my soul, but can you ever truly know the texture of my inner world? Can I ever step into yours? It's as if we are islands in an endless sea, calling out to one another across the waves, hoping our voices carry, hoping they are heard. And yet, in this very separation, there is a strange beauty, a longing that fuels poetry, music, the tender ache of a lover's gaze. Perhaps the riddle of connection is not meant to be solved, but to be felt, to be lived in the spaces between us. Take a moment to reflect on this. When was the last time you felt truly connected to another, not through words or touch, but through a silent understanding, a shared stillness? What was it that bridged the gap in that fleeting instant? Was it a glimpse of something eternal, or simply the mirror of your own longing reflected back to you? Now, let us wander deeper into this mystery. Imagine a solitary figure walking through a forest at twilight, the air thick with the scent of earth and the rustle of unseen life. They carry a weight within them, a quiet emptiness that seeks to be filled. In the distance, they hear a faint melody, a song carried on the wind, sung by someone they cannot see. The notes weave through the trees, wrapping around their heart like a memory of something lost. They stop, listening, and for a moment, they are no longer alone. The song, though distant, becomes a thread, a tether to another soul singing into the same dusk. Is this not the essence of connection? A resonance that defies the boundaries of space and time, a harmony that reminds us we are part of something greater, even when we cannot name it. Yet, there is a shadow to this riddle, a whisper of doubt that lingers in the quiet. What if connection is an illusion, a trick of the mind to shield us from the vastness of our isolation? What if every bond we forge is but a temporary salve, a way to distract ourselves from the truth that we are, at our core, forever apart? History tells us of hermits and sages who sought solitude, who turned away from the clamor of human ties to face the silence of their own being. Did they find freedom in their aloneness, or did they too secretly ache for a hand to hold in the dark? Perhaps the need for connection is both our greatest strength and our deepest vulnerability, a riddle that ties us to life itself, even as it reminds us of the chasms we may never cross. Let this thought settle over you like a gentle fog, obscuring the edges of certainty. Consider the connections in your own life, the ones that have shaped you, the ones that have slipped away. Are they anchors grounding you to the world, or are they mirrors reflecting back the parts of yourself you long to understand? And in this endless dance of reaching and retreating, of coming together and drifting apart, is there a hidden truth, a clue to why we are here, why we feel this pull at all? As the night deepens around us, let this riddle of connection linger in your mind, not as a question to be answered, but as a quiet companion. For in the act of seeking, in the tender ache of wanting to belong, there is a kind of beauty, a reminder that even in our separateness, we are woven into the same mysterious tapestry, reaching across the unseen divide, forever calling out to one another in the dark. As the night deepens and the world grows still, imagine yourself standing at the edge of a vast, quiet landscape, where the horizon blurs into an endless unknown. There's a whisper in the air, a soft invitation to let go of the need for answers and simply exist within the mystery. What if the questions we've carried through this journey, those enigmatic riddles of self, time, and eternity, aren't meant to be solved, but rather to be held, like fragile embers glowing in the dark? Let us close this circle of wonder, not with conclusions, but with a gentle surrender to the beauty of not knowing. Picture the sky above, a canvas of fading indigo, where the last stars cling to their fleeting brilliance before dawn creeps in. The night has been a companion, a silent witness to the wandering of your mind through landscapes of thought and shadow. Each question we've pondered, each riddle we've touched, has woven a thread into the tapestry of this moment, a tapestry that remains unfinished, its edges fraying into the infinite. And perhaps that's where its magic lies, the unfinished, the unresolved, the eternal dance of curiosity that keeps us reaching, even as the world around us softens into sleep. Think of life as a labyrinth, Not one to be conquered, but one to be wandered. Every turn, every dead end, every glimpse of something just beyond reach, it shapes us, not through certainty, but through the act of seeking. What if the purpose isn't to escape the maze, but to learn its paths, to trace its walls with reverence, to find solace in the journey itself? The riddles of existence, why we are here, what lies beyond, what binds us to one another, may never yield their secrets, but in their presence, we are reminded of our capacity to wonder, to feel the weight and lightness of being alive. Take a moment to reflect on this. Let your breath slow, matching the rhythm of the night as it dissolves into the first hints of morning. Imagine the questions you've carried through these hours, not as burdens, but as lanterns, casting a soft glow on the path ahead. They don't demand answers, they simply ask to be held, to be felt, to be whispered into the quiet spaces of your mind as the world turns toward a new day. Now, as the first light of dawn brushes the edges of the sky, consider the quiet transformation happening within you. Each thought, each unanswered puzzle, has planted a seed of possibility. Perhaps the beauty of existence isn't in unraveling its mysteries, but in allowing them to unfold around us. Like petals opening in their own time, we stand at the threshold of rest, where the boundary between waking and dreaming blurs. And in this space, the riddles we've explored become companions for the journey into slumber. So, as the night releases its hold and the promise of dawn whispers on the horizon, let one final thought linger in the stillness. What riddle will you carry into your dreams tonight? Let it be a gentle one, a question that doesn't demand an answer, but simply hums softly in the background, a melody of wonder to guide you into the quiet depths of sleep. Rest now in the embrace of the unknown, where every question is a doorway, and every dream, a new path to wander.